Hello, welcome, G. Latif. This is your host, Masroor Pirzado. Today we have with us a very learned and well read person as a guest, and we will talk on Shah Latif and different aspects of his greatness with him. So, we welcome Mr. Shah Mohammad Pirzado. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
As we live in Sindh and being Sindhi, we all consider Shah Latif as one of the greatest poet of the world. But when people who live abroad, who know Shah Latif and also know the Shakespeare and Rumi, Kabir, and all great poets, they say that we don't see Shah Latif here in other countries as famous as the other great poets are, as Rumi and others. So, what will be your stance? Is Shah Latif equal to them? Is his level same that of Rumi, or he is a regional poet? Why is he not being known as a global icon as Rumi and others?
There are always two aspects, two parts of everything. The first part is the worth and the stance of Shah Latif as a poet, as a creative person. And then other part is how we promote him. So this is not the part Shah Latif has to do with it.
He has done his part.
He has done his part, which is with us as a text. Now, like Shah Abdul Latif Bhittai, everything we want to display to the world, our contribution as a human beings, as a contribution, as a thought, as a contribution to the vision of society. It is ironically based on the governments. So how governments are serious, how governments are convinced to spend such and such money to particular job, is it worth or not?
And how Shah Latif is priority for government.
So this is the second part what you are talking about.
Yes.
If we see in history that Shah Latif chose Sindhi spoken language of that time to say such a vast and meaningful, metaphoric, philosophical subject, where that language at that time was not common in the so-called literature and educated circles. It was language of a common man.
Regional.
So why Shah Abdul Latif chose the medium which is adopted by common man and contains very rich in the philosophical point of view. So this is the greatness of Shah Latif, that he selected and he was clear about that. That I am not to prove myself how learned I am, but I have to convey my common man the thing which he is missing otherwise. Otherwise means in the traditional education system,
He could
it
have
was
said,
not
he could have said in Arabic
in
or
Arabic.
Persian.
If he want to prove himself.
Yes.
But he choose that what I know and what I am debited to convey these thoughts to the common man. And that common man was out of the bracket at that time to be called educated person.
Educated.
The person, he was like a laborer, he was farmer, he was gypsies, he was wandering persons. They talk in Sindhi with each other, but society was not accepting them as an educated person. But Shah Abdul Latif Bhittai chooses that idiom, that language to convey his thoughts. That means he was not self-centered. He was not worried about what he will be placed in history, how he will be placed in history, but he denied outrightly. And he was, my concern is my fellow man must understand what is life
Wow, wow.
and why you are created and what is all this. And that was the reason he lives on.
In
Because
common man.
it was not in the written history, it was not in books, it was not in government circles, it was not in Badshah of that dynasties, but it remained in the memory of the common man.
Common people still love him. And
So this is the triumphant, this is the most victory of Shah Abdul Latif Bhittai, that he put his message in the hearts of the common man speaking Sindhi language. Now things go on, history moves on, and we see that it was H.T. Sorley, the first non-indigenous, non-Sindhi British official, who sensed and who realized that there is a powerful thing in in these couplets which common men are chanting. And he have a curiosity to explore it. Otherwise, he was a bureaucrat. He was just an instrument of colonial powers. But it was his interest of art and poetry that he spent. It was not his sponsored job. It was not the job he was paid for. But he, with his interest, and he took a decision, and he have, you can say, a contribution according to his conscience, that this thing must be known to the world. That such a gem, such a mind, such a brain is available here also. And he did his role, and he got PhD. And this was the first time that Shah Abdul Latif Bhittai was introduced to the world through English language, Shah Latif of Bhitt, by H.T. Sorley. And then came the Anne Mary Shamil later on, and with our local scholar Hisamuddin Rashidi, and she took interest because she knew Persian and Arabic and Urdu and all these things. And she learned Sindhi, and she explored Shah Abdul Latif Bhittai, and she promoted it worldwide in Germany and wherever she goes. So it is not that a message is not conveyed to the world. It is there
okay.
in shape of H.T. Sorley's findings, in shape of talks of Anne Mary Schimmel, and from our local scholar Allama I. Qazi, when he was in England in early 1910 or somewhere, and he studied the literature of English, and then he compared it and told to the world that Shah Abdul Latif is among the top most creative poets, greater poet of the world. And those circles accepted it. Even today, the theoretically academicians accepted that Shah Latif is a greater poet of that time.
Because of
and
these standards.
And at par of the world standards of poetry.
But here a question arises that he is still, okay, he is accepted, he is known in the world, but how to make him as a global icon?
Yeah, this is second part. So this is second part, that you need a means, you need state power, you need government priority and fundings to do that.
Okay.
This is purely, it's not, it's purely, you can say, mechanical work. For the sake of name, for the sake of just our governments have everything which can justify, we have this.
But we have government institutes under the name of Shah Latif.
They have Shah Latif chair, they have Shah Latif University, they can do this, and they say we have done this. Even they have a democracy, but we know that
But isn't
how it translate?
isn't it I think satisfactory or not? Because it
No, it's not satisfactory.
how
It's a you can say most vicious and most ignorant of all governments throughout, before Pakistan and after Pakistan, that you ignore the core literature, traditions, and the humanities. You can say humanities. You have not served the purpose for which you are getting funds.
they are only getting PhDs, scholarships, jobs,
Yeah.
and salaries at the end. That is all.
Yeah, just to fill the bibliography that we have this type of books, but they are not at par of the standard of the research and the standard of the promoting literature.
So, several researchers have done so many things. They have written risalos and explanation, interpretations of Shah Latif. How much satisfied are you with their work?
Yeah, well, as a modern scientific methodology, I believe in Gurbakshani.
You rate him higher?
This was the first modern, you can say, research methodology he used. That everything we get from the mouth of common man is not Bitai, is not Shah Latif.
Yes.
We have to figure it out. And this is what research is called. So now if we, here we have some other, you can say, insecurities. Insecurities that maybe we lose something of it. So take it all.
Ganj.
So Ganj. And we are happy with that. Otherwise, being a scientific methodology, research must go on from the point Gurbakshani left. Because Gurbakshani is Risalo, you can have objection with his methodology, with his conclusions. Someone include this and someone exclude this. So you can do this, but again, the way is like this, that you have to set the standard.
Yes.
That what are the standards based on which you can decide this Bayt is of Shah Abdul Latif Bhitai or not.
But we, as a whole nation, do it because of our what I call the ideologies.
Aqidat, yeah.
Ideologies. If I am Shia, I will.
So this is what we have a blind faith type things in our consciousness. So we don't like what Bhitai was, but we like what
we take him what we like for ourselves.
How we represent him to promote our thoughts. So this is a little bit, you can
It
say
is injustice with the poet.
Unjust for any creative person. That so this happens because there is no research guidelines. There is no standardization of Shah Abdul Latif Bhitai. So everyone is allowed to form his opinion and promote it.
Even religious person uses him for his
reasons. Religion.
And even atheists do for themselves.
Their own person. So they are interested in their point of view, where they can quote Bhitai, but not what is Bhitai actually.
So we have to accept him in totality.
In totality, yeah.
And we should.
We may agree or not, but
yes,
we just say.
We should give him a space to come out.
So it is because overall we call Sindhi Musalman, Muslim Sindhi, overall in totality is not as much scientific minded as you can say Sindhi speaking Hindu or other people of this area. So Sindhi Muslim person is praised under the faith of being the loyal to the feudal of his area or to the peer or the saint of his family, Murshid. So this is the shackles. This is we are chained in still. That we not see the things objectively, but we see things through passion. And this is the hindrance to promote any artwork. Then artwork will not get recognition worldwide on the standard research methods.
Yes.
It is your obedience, is your love. It's you see him a supernatural person. You see him the only one guide. You see him your leader, your rahbar. It's your own problem. It's not the problem of the world.
Yes.
They need content. And content is not filtered through the modern research methodology. And you are not, you feel pressure from the society. Just like Allama Ay Qazi exclude Kedaro. Now, there is no explanation, there is no note on what ground he excludes. But he didn't include in his collection of Shah Salo. But there is immense pressure from the society.
I think even Sheikh Hayaz in his Urdu translation, he also excluded Kedar.
Yeah,
Yes.
but they cannot give reason. Why?
What standards?
What? So this is something because they are fear of the retaliation of the public. You know, they are fear of that people will be angry.
Angry or disown them.
So this is the fear which you cannot say the right things.
Because of social pressure.
Because of social pressure. So if this type of amalgamation, international people are confused, what is the Bhitai you see as a great poet?
Even you are not clear about
it. And you have conflicting ideas. So this is another part, that if your institutions are strong, if you have got the standardization, and that was in 1930s, Gurbakshani compiled Shah Salo. It was the biggest step. Using a modern methodology of research, you may agree or not, but it said something. Based on, he put the standards of Rag philosophy, and based on these two things, he put the standard. And of course, he included Kedaro, but he have the selection of the verses, which are at least, at the minimum, these are filtered, as I can say. I am not in position unless I have the other research method. So, Ganj is not a standardized method. And I even don't consider Nabi Baksh Baloch. I don't. So these are not that much objectively principle of criticism on which you can filter whatever you heard as a Shah Abdul Latif Bhitai is really Shah Abdul Latif Bhitai or its imitation. You have to do it.
And so many people, of course, Shah Latif is the greatest poet, and great people, great poets, great artists have great influence on people, and they imitate and try to write and do things.
It's easy to copy sometimes. But is it real thing? Just like you heard about Picasso. That is fake or real? This is always a question.
Even sometimes Picasso didn't own his own
sometimes,
artwork and paintings, and he simply said, "I don't own because I did it for money. It is not up to the standard of my own."
It's very, very important and meaningful word, meaningful statement. Picasso said, "Yes, I draw this painting, but it's not original."
Yes.
You say, So this is something
But
between
in
the
the
lines.
case of Latif,
Yeah, this
it is different.
yes,
He didn't
because
even
he was
wrote-
not himself
Yes.
present when we are talking about it. So we have to get the standard of poetry, standard of language, standard of
According
thought.
to the standards of
So
Latif.
there must be continuation. There must be, helping each couplets with another one. If there are contradictory, if there are, so then how can you figure out that what was he like?
No, there should be a team of people who know the language, his style, his
style.
standard,
Yeah.
who can decide these.
And this is task for every Sindhi speaking person now, that you like or not, but you have to set as modern scientific methodology to set the standard that on which criteria you will say that this is Bitai and this is not.
And when we are living in the age of technology and AI is doing his great job, so I think it is relatively easier to do these things to
Yeah.
make him a global icon. And
Yeah. So this things need a budget.
Yes.
These things need money, and this is not part of any individual, but this is the institutional.
It should be
job.
government supported.
So then they can promote it in Sindh and out of Sindh and out of Pakistan, if they consider this is our treasure. And
if they consider, very good
if,
words.
If they are not convinced, then they will not spend money.
Oh, yes. Now the last question. We know you. You have a good study of Holy Quran, and you also read Shah Latif, and you think that his essence is inspiration is taken from Quran, is Rumi did. Is I want your words on this topic also.
Yeah, actually, there is a very big misconception about the text of Quran. Because if I say Bhitai is inspired by Quran, then all of a sudden you give me evidence that he was also
Religious.
No, he was also inspired by Kabir.
Okay.
So Kabir is not Muslim, whatever.
Yes, yes, yes.
Or you can say Vedas or whatever. So how can you say
Oh, yes.
that? So now there is a mistake.
Yes, misconception.
So this is a misconception that what you consider Quran, what is Quran? If you say it's a Muslim religious book, then of course you cannot understand, because Bhitai is beyond that.
Yes.
But also Quran is beyond that. This is the point. That what I claim is every creative person, every philosophical advancement in human society is inspired from Quran, from the text of Quran, whether technically he is Muslim or not.
Okay. Okay.
So this is something which is not being taught.
This
And
needs-
every time, just like me, just like every time we feel difficulty because there is immense pressure of society that people will blame blasphemous. So you have to be very careful. So what you are saying. So when just like you can take every philosopher, even atheist. So if you go deep in what he want to say and from where he get, then there become a question. Just like there are many, we cannot name anyone, but so this is the what the Ibn Arabi, Mansur Hallaj, they depict Quran as a Wahdatul Wujud. They interpreted Quran's philosophy as Wahdatul Wujud, and it has a lobby, you can say. So Bhitai is from that
School of thought.
string. And he want to explain same thing in Sindhi. Using Sindhi traditional stories.
But his message was similar to that.
Because human is same. Human being is same. So you cannot tell him thing from alien language. You have to speak their own language.
In which they can easily understand.
So the concept is the same, but the medium and language are the local. So there is no conflict in my mind. So yes, I believe that Rumi and Ibn Arabi and Mansur Hallaj and Shalati Bhittai and Bulle Shah and Sachal are not actual philosopher. They have not created something like philosophy. They based on Quran. They believe in Quran. And they wanted to explain it in their own way and
poetic
language.
way.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Shah Mohammed, for this wonderful talk. Hopefully, we will again request you to come here and.
Thank you.
Thank you. Viewers, thank you very much for watching this talk of Shah Mohammed. We will be again here with you with another guest. Thank you very much.